Welcome to the Blue Oasis Podcast. This is a feed podcast for finding peace and prosperity, learning the history of hobbies, as well as developing a little side hustle. If you want to find peace and prosperity in your life, this is your show. Get ready. You're listening to the Blue Oasis Podcast. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. And welcome back to the Blue Oasis Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Rothstein. With me tonight is Jason Vandevere. How are you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Adam.
All right, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I live in Akron, Ohio, and I grew up here working for my family. So my dad is a car dealer. If you ever come to Akron, Ohio, you'll see our last name, Vandevere, all over. They've got 5 dealerships. You'll see Vandevere, Kia, Chevy, Cadillac, whatever, bunch of car dealerships. So my whole life, it was assumed that I would go into the family business. And for years I worked there. I was working in every department to learn the whole business and take over this company. But after a few years of working there, I realized it didn't align with a passion of mine. So even though literally everyone told me it was a crazy idea to leave the family business and turn down this amazing opportunity, I decided to leave and I started my dream business where I designed a planner called Goal Crazy and I started selling them online. And then that business has turned into a bunch of other things, it's turned into workshops and courses, a coaching program. I have a podcast on my own. Most recently, I launched a book called Dream Driven. But on the side, I've also been getting real estate. So I'm up to 34 apartments. And I guess that's my highlight reel for my career. But I've done plenty of other things that didn't work and still feel like I'm figuring it out as I go. But that's a little bit about me.
That's impressive. Real estate and I'm 31. I don't have any real estate yet. How old are you?
I'm 30.
30? Oh, man.
You can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I'll get a house one of these days. Okay, so why planners? Why go into planning or why go into designing journals rather?
Yeah, it was a passion of mine because I was learning our family business. There's a bunch of different departments, and my dad wanted me to work in every department to learn it so I could learn the whole business. And going through that process, I had to get really good at when I started a new department, learning the goals for that department and the successful behaviors I needed to do every day so that I could succeed in that department. And planners really helped me stay organized. And I had tried a whole bunch of them and I could never find one that really I liked or that delivered on all the promises I felt like it made. So it got me curious about it. I wanted to go through the work of designing the right planner, and that's what I did. I quit my job. I spent over 6 months just interviewing successful entrepreneurs, successful people, learning how they set their goals, track their goals. I hosted focus groups to have people try it out and really refine it into a clear process. And then I launched my planner.
Did you make any money from hosting those webinars or?
Oh no. These were like before I had anything to sell. I was giving little booklets with my design in there and people would try it out and give me feedback on what worked, what didn't work so that I could improve the design and make it pretty dialed in before I launched it.
Okay. Okay. Was there a mind shift you had along the way? When coming up with the designs or just coming up with the process of building this?
Yeah. So probably with those focus groups, like the very first focus group, I hosted it because a mentor of mine recommended I host a focus group. And when he brought it up, I thought it was a silly idea. I thought my design was perfect. I thought it was ready to go. But out of respect for him, I thought, okay, I'll host this focus group. And I got about 6 people together. I showed them my design. It was supposed to only last about an hour, and it lasted 3 hours. And we didn't even make it through the whole design. People were giving me tons of very negative feedback, like this doesn't make sense. I'm confused. I'm not sure what's going on here. This is too repetitive. And at that point, I had left my job for months. I told everyone I was launching this business. Everyone already told me I was kind of dumb for turning down the business of being a car dealer. And that was hard. It was like, what have I done? But I would say the mindset shift happened afterwards, where I realized I was so glad that I got all that terrible feedback up front when I could still change the design rather than launching a product and getting a bunch of terrible reviews and having it fail. So at that point, I took the negative feedback. I had a list of things that I needed to solve. I fixed the design. I hosted another one, and I kept going through. I did 7 focus groups until I got something that worked. The last 2 focus groups went really smooth. People got it. It was working. They were getting really good results. And that's when I knew it was time to launch the product. So I'd say mindset shift is I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. I needed a fresh set of eyes, my actual target market to try it out and give me feedback.
Do you have that original design right now?
Oh, not handy.
Oh,
I do somewhere. Yeah. It was just a little
so
booklet.
it's all right. It's all right. So in the planner, months, days, years, it had all of it.
Yeah, so my design is a 90-day planner and it's undated. So if you get it today, there's no reason you can't get started on it right now. You just get started and you have 3 months worth of pages. But it starts with, I call it my life, it's a life crash course where it helps you do a deep audit of yourself. You get clarity on where you're at right now, where you want to be, and you start putting together a plan to get you there. And once you get clear on that, then you can actually use the planner to accomplish those goals. But I would say if you don't have that intro life crash course, most of the planners I would say can be a complete waste of time. Like you can try your best to structure your life and be more productive, but if you don't have any goals, what are you trying to optimize for? You can't optimize something with no structure, no target. It's just trying to optimize an unlimited amount of tasks that the world throws at you. So the goals are really, really instrumental.
I have to tell you something. So there is a goal of mine, and I want to write this new book called The Ice of the Game. It's about ice hockey arenas or NHL arenas, and just planning all this out. My goal is to get to 16 arenas slash cities completed of where the NHL was for a while, and that's by October 11th. So that's when I want to do that. But
Like
that's
of
not
this
it.
year, so a couple weeks.
So now I already have stuff done for that.
Yeah.
I've got Cleveland done. I've got Columbus done. I Atlanta's going to be shorter. Boston had I did the TD Garden, just not the original Boston Garden. Calgary did the Saddle Dome. Um, Vancouver, I did that. MCI slash Verizon slash Capital One Arena, that was mine. Like, and yeah, let's see. Yeah, Washington, Vancouver. I didn't touch Toronto. I think I did an article way back when on Maple Leaf Gardens, but there's a lot of cities to cover, and
Hmm.
if anything, the NHL has probably had more than anything. So what I'm doing right now is just hey, work on completing 16 pieces by this day, and then you're almost halfway done with the cities, and then you're good to go. So
That's
so
awesome.
so that's how I'm doing it. And I guess even just writing down in like a regular journal like this helps. But would you, is there anything you would recommend for someone who's trying to do just write a nonfiction book or any book?
Yeah, writing nonfiction. So right now it sounds like you have a pretty good outline already made. Is it kind of going to be like you've got a chapter per location? Is that for the most part
Yeah,
the structure
yeah,
of
and
it?
I'm stacking this alphabetically. So I'm modeling it after this book,
Hmm.
and I'll have pictures in it, and then once the book's completed, I'll do the audio for it.
Love it.
So so my
Yeah,
goal
so
is
I
to
would
get
say tips that my publisher gave me, he said there was 2 rules to working with him, and I feel like this was helpful for me. He said the first is you can only write one book at a time. Got it. The second was don't edit while you write. And that was so helpful. I just, when it came to making the rough draft, I just typed it out. If there was like three examples I wanted to give in the chapter and I didn't know which one, I'll just write all three of them. It was just like, don't overthink it. I just put it all on paper because once I had it all written out, then it was a lot easier to rearrange things, to edit it. But otherwise, I could have easily gotten stuck in trying to have a paragraph start just right when what I needed to do was get it all out of my head onto paper. So I don't know if either of those are helpful for you, but that helped me. Once I got over the through the first full draft, the editing process was hard. I don't know if you plan on hiring professional editors, but you could see the light at the end of the tunnel once you had your first draft. It was clear that you had a book. It wasn't just a project anymore. You had a book. It just needed to be polished.
Yeah, yeah, and even just writing something on Excel Energy Center that's in St. Paul, Minnesota, um, like and just putting this out too, and also if you have a Substack list, I found that just hey, you're giving your readers something to read, and you don't have to put everything out too, but it does
Mhm.
help you stay accountable, especially to
Mm,
your potential audience and potential buyers of your book.
yeah. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, so I did notice that. So I noticed on the Podmatch profile you talk about a four-step process. Can you please go into that?
Yeah. So when I wanting to accomplish a goal, four step process is one, you need a goal. So this would be before that, you need this goal of what you want to accomplish. So step one is what I call seek expert counsel. So I had a mentor of mine once tell me, he said, Jason, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? So whenever you want to accomplish a goal, the quickest way to do it is find someone who's already accomplished a similar goal to what you want to do, and then ask them how they did it. Boom, there's your straight line. So whenever I set a goal, that is my number one thing is I need to get in contact with people who have already done it. When I wanted to write my book, I spent months getting in touch with a bunch of successful authors and asking them how they did it. When I've wanted to get into real estate or launch an e-commerce business, I always find somebody who's already done it first. After I do that, I form a 90-day goal. It's my most impactful goal, and I clarify what is the most important thing to focus on over the next 90 days. I don't know if you've read the book The One Thing. It's a short, great read, but there's this question in there, and it's what's the one thing that I can do that by doing will make everything else either easier or irrelevant? What's the one thing you can do that by doing will make everything else easier or irrelevant? And that's the next step for me is I need to clarify that 90-day goal that will make everything else easier or irrelevant. After I do that, third step is you got to take messy action, whether you feel ready or not. You just got to get started. Action brings clarity. Once you start taking action, things get a little clearer. And the fourth step is reflection. I feel like the only reason I've made it to where I am is because of a firm commitment to reflect. You brought up your journal. That's one of my preferred ways to reflect. I kind of think of reflection similar to golf. I don't really golf very much, but if I go to the driving range and if I were to hit 100 golf balls, probably 90 of them would be terrible, but 10 of them would be okay. So people always say this saying like practice makes perfect. So if that is true, I practice my bad hits more than my good ones. So if I was going to the driving range regularly, wouldn't I be getting better at bad hits? Wouldn't I actually getting worse at golf because I practice my terrible hits way more than my good ones? Everybody knows that's not what would happen because after we hit a ball, we reflect what worked, what didn't work, how am I going to tweak it for next time. But if we didn't reflect, we would get worse at golf because we hit more bad shots than good ones. And I think most people never slow down enough in their career and in their life to reflect on their actual actions. So they just keep doing bad thing after bad thing. And then it becomes a habit to do it really poorly. When if you reflect, you can actually start getting better. So that's four step process.
And and what and for me, it's getting into the booth and practicing just practicing reading and being that narrator and documenting sports history, which I've done really well at
Yeah.
too. And just reading and just even reading to a certain tone and bringing a New York style accent. Um,
Adam, I can't hear you anymore.
I,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
there
Eventually,
you
you'll
go.
find that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, you cut out right when you said
Okay.
listening
Eventually, I
a New
was
York style accent, and then you cut out.
okay. Okay, so even with the New York style accent that I have, I'll find a smoother path of everything just ready to go.
Mhm.
And I'll be more prepared along the way. Um, man, and what I said earlier, man, you'll have a smoother delivery in terms of narrating and stuff like that. Uh,
Mhm.
man. So advice. Um, so I didn't. I should have asked this earlier, but how do you plan your day? Like typical morning, breakfast plan, coffee. What do you drink and what do you eat?
So what's kind of my morning routine? Is that the question?
Morning routine to evening. Yes. D-
To evening? Well, all right, I'm gonna say my day starts with, in a way, it starts with I plan my quarter out very thoroughly in my planner during that life crash course. I've got clear targets of what I'm going to do each month. Then each month, I break it down to my targets for each week. Each week, I take that plan and I plan my entire, this is a long explanation, but I plan my entire week out extremely thoroughly on Monday morning. So I know at by 8:30 a.m. on Monday, I have my whole week completely time blocked out. I know what I'm going to do Monday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Thursday morning. I put some what I call buffer time in there just in case something new comes up or something takes longer than expected. It doesn't throw off my whole week. So then my day is set. I get up. Uh, I've already planned that out. The night before, I plan out my day for tomorrow, and it's already written when I wrote my weekly plan, but I rewrite it again. So I've already written my plan for tomorrow. It's 8:20 our time here, PM. So I've already rewritten my entire day for tomorrow. So when I get up, I'm just following through that plan. As far as my morning routine goes, get up at 5:30, spend maybe 40 to 60 minutes praying, journaling, then I'll work out. We have three little kids, so I get them up, I make them breakfast, make something for my wife, clean up after them, take a shower. I don't drink coffee. I, I try to avoid all caffeine. Uh, then I go to my office, journal again for the day, read, get to work. I also plan my entire day out with timers. So I will set timers tonight for everything that I have tomorrow. I'll have a timer to get up, I'll have a timer to start praying, I'll have a timer to stop praying and go work out. It's all planned out. Before I had this meeting, 10 minutes before, I had a timer that went off that said it's time to go prepare for Adam. Some people think that's too robotic, but I would rather follow the alarms that I intentionally set for myself, where most people, I would say, they follow the whatever the demands are the entire world puts on them. Most likely it's notifications on their phone, or most people tell me like they didn't actually accomplish what they wanted for the day, which is sad, but that's because they're falling to the demands of the world. I plan it all out by alarms and follow it. Then get our kids to bed. Me and my wife hang out. We go to bed pretty early because of this podcast recording. I'll probably go to bed a little bit later than normal. We go to bed around 9:30.
Well, I don't think it's robotic at all to just keep these notifications on your phone, especially when you have multiple meetings and you're working a day job too. Um, Still, but when you're trying to become independent and just want things to go well, and I accomplished what I needed to accomplish at work, and now I'm accomplishing this, and I'm also going to put something out for the Pepsi Center. tomorrow on my Substack. So, hey, things are getting done.
Nice job. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. Um, so yeah, following your dreams, um, you didn't immediate, and I'm not sure if you necessarily touched on this, but you didn't immediately know it was planners. It did take some time to find that, correct?
Well, when I left my job, that I was very clear that's what I knew I wanted to do. Now, I dreamed of making a planner as a kid. I guess I figured that I would go out and take over the family business. And maybe after I ran that for years and was rich and had tons of time and money, then I would go launch a passion project. So I thought it was going to be way further out in the future. But instead, I quit my job when I was like 23 or something and got started on it right away.
It's it's nice, and I'm still working the same job from 23, so go
That's not a
figure.
bad thing.
It's not a
It's not a
bad
bad
thing,
thing. Yeah.
especially when you've had some raises along the way. So it's all good with that. Advice to others. Um, how many planners have you sold, by the way? Just curious.
It's a little over 40,000. I haven't checked the exact number, but somewhere over 40,000 planners. So
And
some people might say that's a lot compared to other companies. That's barely any, but I'm excited about it.
and what's the price of these planners each?
$35. So it's well over $1 million of these planners sold.
That's incredible. I've sold about 1,400 audiobooks, and you average that out to about, well, I guess you would include the library stuff. I mean, it would still be about $1,200, not the year, but I mean over a few years too. That's still something. And I've sold other stuff to help with that, and did stuff for clients
Mhm.
in the past, but not a bad place to be. $35 and you sell 40,000. That's what, um, okay,
Yeah.
a little over a million too.
Yeah. Yeah. Somewhere in there.
Okay, so that's okay, 35 times 40, $35, 40,000. So, four, yeah, $1.4 million
Yeah,
before
over the
taxes.
span of, yeah. So, and that's been over the span of, I launched it in 2000, in the middle of 2019. So it's taken me years to do that. Uh, when I launched it, I had no clue what I was going to do next. I just thought I'm going to start selling planners. And then people were buying them and they kept reaching out wanting more. So then I started hosting these workshops and then that turned into coaching. And then I started recording things I was doing and selling it as courses. And eventually, I decided to launch a podcast. The next thing kept presenting itself. And I would say, talking to other entrepreneurs, I think that's generally how it works out. It's kind of like once you start your business, opportunities open up. And what's really hard then is trying to figure out which opportunities you're going to say yes to and what you're going to say no to, because there's a lot of opportunities out there.
I have a very big opportunity coming up, and October 11th was a very specific day for me because that is the day of my alumni game where I get to go back to Aberdeen, Maryland, and get to meet up with many of my old teammates that I have not seen in many years, and
Hmm.
also get their email addresses, put them on my Substack, and let them know what's up. That hey, you're gonna get access to these articles that I'm writing that are going to be used for a book. You're gonna then be able, then eventually you'll be able to buy the book and the audiobook, and then I'll ask them to share it with their friends and family. But just one more streamline of marketing, or one other way of marketing from friends and family on my behalf,
It's really
essentially.
good.
And then I mean I'd still ask maybe one of the Locked On Network uh, podcasts to do it, and I have done that before. So that is one thing that I do want to do again.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
One
good.
avenue I would like to pursue. Um, did you ever advertise on podcasts?
So now that I'm launching my book, I would say that's what I'm doing, hence why I'm here. When I launched my planner, originally that was a small thing I was experimenting with. Maybe when I launched my planner, I was on like three or four podcasts. Now with my book, the other authors I talked to said you got to get on podcasts. So I've been booked on like 35 podcasts or something this month. So I'm trying to put a lot of energy into it.
Were you, did did you ask anyone beforehand to come on to this one, or or how did you find me? Is my question.
Yeah, because we got connected through Podmatch. So I've been using Podmatch and then tons of outbound email, just researching podcasts, trying to track down the host email address and pitching them. The nice thing is because I have a podcast, I get dozens of pitches per week. Uh, so I'm used to filtering through pitches. So I kind of wrote it for this is what I'd want to see if somebody was pitching me and what I like, the style I like to see in a pitch, whatever. And then I base my pitch around that. And still, most of the ones I pitch, I don't hear back from. Maybe that's because I'm not finding the right email address. Maybe I'm trying to go after too big of ones before I'm ready, but I'm just trying and learning as I go.
And I have learned a lot with Podmatch, and sometimes I don't like the system. I don't like necessarily putting stuff in, and I've had issues before where it's like, you know, the times are wrong. Oh, 8 p.m. No, no, it's no, I thought you meant 8 p.m. Utah time. And then
Mm,
some guy, I will not tell you how he got my number. And I'm like, I don't give my number out to anyone. And it's like, oh, that's what the agent said. I'm like thinking, then I look at the back of my one of my profiles and it's like, he got it. He got my number. It's like, why did I put my number out on this other side sort of thing? But no one call me unless you're a close friend or I've given you my number. So putting that out there right now. I did want to talk about stability. When you reached that $1 million sale, that the sale that put you over the top of $1 million, did you sit back for a moment and just breathe? "Ah, I've accomplished this. It is done. I can rest easy, at least for a moment." Did you have that sort of feeling?
really, I wasn't even keeping track of my sales like that. I feel like I was putting together podcast pitches or something, and I was trying to gather stats on my business and realized, okay, I've sold over $1 million worth of these things. I'm going to include that. But otherwise, now I was looking at my yearly numbers year to year. And, sales revenue is a good thing to keep track of. But sales and profit are very different, right? I see a lot of times people post these screenshots of their Shopify store sales or their Stripe processing sales, and it makes it look like you're making all this money, but that's not the same as profit. And I don't know, you got to focus on the right numbers. And I'll tell you, I made the same mistake when I first launched my business. So when I started selling these planners, I was 23 years old. I was young. I'd never really made much money before, but I went the first 6 months without doing any of my QuickBooks. Mistake. Don't do that. But after 6 months, I decided, all right, I'm going to do my QuickBooks, and I start putting all my data into QuickBooks so I can run a profit and loss. And I put it all in there. And I remember being so excited because I had sold over $100,000 worth of my planners in the first 6 months. And I could see these deposits of $100,000 getting put into my bank account in the span of 6 months, which was way more money I'd ever seen. But my expenses were over 100,000. They were more, maybe I had like $105,000 in deposits and my expenses were $115,000 and I lost money. And it was like, how did I let this happen? How did I have $100,000 in 6 months go into my bank account and somehow I just spent it all? And but the thing is I could have made all these screenshots and sent them to people like, look at me, I made 100 grand in the past 6 months. But the reality was I wasn't. And that was, I feel like, a really good, you asked about a mindset shift earlier. It was like, that was a really good learning lesson for me. One, I needed to start keeping track of my numbers. I needed to learn the discipline to set profits aside. It's like, how did I let $100,000 come into my bank account and I didn't set just $1 aside to be profit? I kept spending it and I spent more than what I'd even brought in. So, yeah, I would figure out the right numbers to track. And at the end of the day, your profit, that is your scorecard. If your business is not turning a profit, then you're not really running a business. You're running a charity. You're giving people things.
Course, of course. And for me, and for someone like me who focuses on a digital product and audiobooks, which are not physically on cassette
Yeah.
tapes or CDs anymore, and you just download it with Chirp, Audible, or audiobooks.com, you can get a little arrogant not taking care of the books. I at least put it into an Excel or Calc spreadsheet like LibreOffice Calc, but something there. And then I guess we use the family accountant, and then I just report on that there, thanks to my old man. But you can definitely get arrogant, especially if it's an entirely digital um, product, and you don't need shipping. All you need is a laptop and a cell phone, and
Hmm.
you can get arrogant because essentially once you've made the product and taken the time to complete the audiobook, all each sale is essentially profit minus what um, in audio takes or Authors Republic takes. So, so I'm saying to my listeners and my viewers, do not get complacent. Document this and um, and use QuickBooks. Use your resources to um, to make sure that you're up to date on taxes and all that stuff. Oh,
Hmm. Yeah. I'll go back to, I know you were asking about, did I have this feeling when I hit the $1 million mark? And I would say no for there. One of the goals that I had for a long time was I wanted to have 30 apartments by the age of 30. And when I was, how old would I have been? 27 years old. I reached 34 apartments and I passed my goal when I was 27 years old. And I remember thinking I should be so happy. Like when I wrote the goal down originally, when I'm 30 with 30 apartments, I thought if I reached that, I would just be in a bliss. Like I would go on walks in the middle of the day just to enjoy, like my life is amazing. But I'll tell you, once I reached that goal, in a way, I don't know if I felt depressed, but I went through a slump for a little while afterwards because the reality was is it's not like I reached that goal and it was just like, that's it. My life is amazing. And I need something else to challenge me again. I think, yeah, you need something helpful to work towards. And I would say mindset shift I went through with that is I realized I'd been setting most of my goals wrong for a lot of years. Is I always used to set goals of what do I want to accomplish? How am I going to make my life better? What habits am I going to start? When after that, I realized I needed to be setting goals the other way of what do I want to help others do? What habits do I want to help them start? What do I want to help somebody else accomplish? And those were much more rewarding goals to work towards because yeah, it is exciting hitting goals, but you also need a challenge to work towards. And just trying to please yourself doesn't really fulfill you as much as you think it might.
it leads me to my next question. What about community? What about donating to sports charities, all that stuff? Um, did you when you were going down on the mental slump, did you have that thought of, I'm going to donate some money and give it to this local sports club or sports organization or
Yeah,
something
I
like
don't
that?
I don't think I've ever donated to a sports organization, so maybe that's what I should look into. But we do to our church and other nonprofits. Heifer International, CRS are some of the ones we really like. But I would say one of the things I would like to find is a nonprofit that I'm a little bit more passionate about. We do our tithing where we give to charity, but I feel like maybe it's become too much of like a checklist. Like, okay, make sure I'm giving this much money per year, per month, whatever, and I set it up, put it on an auto pay, and then it's like check. Uh, that's done. And I think that is something I'd like to find at some point in my life, a nonprofit that I'm really passionate about helping rather than just kind of checking the box to make sure I'm doing my share of giving back.
There is one nonprofit I've been passionate about. That's the American Special Hockey Association. Um, Bill, kids with mental and sometimes even physical disabilities will participate in there, and I donate whenever I can from time to time. So I do like it, and hockey is a very expensive sport. If
Yeah.
What part of Ohio are you in, by the way?
I'm
Just
in Akron,
curious.
Ohio. Yeah, Akron,
Akron.
Ohio. I
So
grew up playing hockey. Well, I stopped somewhere in high school. I think my junior year in high school was my last year playing hockey.
I played I played in Maryland, and
College.
I
Yeah.
guess a little bit of beer league when I was living in Florida. But uh, yeah, and then I guess I would played in many different states, though: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Florida, Virginia, New York, particularly Buffalo, and a lot of time in Boston.
Hmm.
So there was
It's
that.
fun.
A lot of things, but it definitely is, great giving back to charity at times that you've achieved something and you can give back to it. Um, do you have any questions for me? Just a random uh, thought I just had. Any question? What
Yeah,
is there
I'd be
anything?
curious to know about your Substack. How's your Substack been for your business? Has it helped you get lots of subscribers? Tell me about that.
So the Substack, the Blue Oasis, alerts people to when I have a new episode out. And if you would like to subscribe to that, that'll be in the show notes as well. And I'll give you a direct link to that to subscribe via email. So this definitely keeps people alert, and and I've noticed that I'm getting about 60, 70 downloads an episode now, and I'm like wondering what is going on. But it is the alerting of my subscribers that does do that, and it allows them to hey, notification on either my podcast app, and I get the email, you know, that subscriber is going to be more inclined to listen to it. And it's like, because the subscriber at times will be like, I'm bored. What do I do right now? Oh, the Blue Oasis podcast just dropped a new episode, and I got an email and a notification from it. Better check this out, sort of thing. So it is.
Hmm.
So there's essentially two notifications, assuming you're following this podcast in one way or another. You'll get the notification as well, because typically
Hmm.
the subscribers are the followers
Yeah.
on both.
Okay, that's really good.
So that is a little bit of a tip especially when the RSS feed is hosted on Substack. That also
Mhm.
helps.
Hmm.
Yeah. Closing thoughts. Any closing thoughts you'd like to go over?
Yeah, I think maybe like final piece of advice. I think the habit that's maybe changed my life the most, which sorry, I didn't bring this up when you were asking me about my morning routine, is I take 10 minutes every single day to dream. Just simply dream about the life that I want without limits. So what would I love to do, experience, have, become, just let my mind dream. I put in my headphones, listen to some music, I pace around in my basement. Maybe that sounds weird, but it gets me super clear on what I want to do with my life. And I would say once you have clear dreams, then you can set goals that aim at accomplishing those dreams. It gives your goals meaning. And I think so many people they stop dreaming. They have no dreams in their life. And you can still set goals, but if you don't have dreams, your goals aren't aiming at anything. There's no meaning. And if you don't have meaningful goals, you end up in this place that I call survival mode, where you're just simply working to stay afloat. And I would encourage everybody, you got to start dreaming every single day. It's going to give you clarity on what you want to do. It's going to give you the motivation to accomplish it. I feel like because I have clear dreams, I have a fire inside of me to go make these things happen. So it gave me the courage to walk away from leaving a multi-million dollar family business opportunity to go start a business selling planners. Starting a business is hard, but if you've got a fire inside of you, if your desire to make it happen is greater than the challenge, you're going to push through to make it happen. So start dreaming every single day. It'll change your life.
There is a place in Northern Virginia that I would like to live in, but it is more expensive there than this western part of Maryland that's just north of Montgomery County. But I want to be there because, it is biker friendly. It's
Mhm.
healthy. I mean, like it's one of the healthiest cities. I think it's Arlington. I could be wrong on that, but it's one of the healthiest cities, and I want to live there. One to maintain good health, and also just owning a home in that area. I mean, it gives you stability. It would give you stability. It would just be easy for you to just, go about your business essentially. And
Keep dreaming about it. Yeah, I think that's because you got to turn right now. Right now, you got this flame inside of you to make it happen. But the more you dream about it, it's going to turn into this big raging fire. And then if you can connect your activities you're doing every day to that dream, because I'm sure when you're writing your book, you probably run into challenges, whether they're exterior or interior challenges, and you need something that's driving you to say, no, I'm going to do this. I've got the will to make this happen. Writing a book, you probably know with your audiobooks, writing the book, it takes a lot of work. It's hard, but that's just the starting point. The real hard part is getting people to buy it. And you're going to have to keep pushing there. So keep dreaming about it so it can help
and
fuel the fire for you.
and it is, and my audiobooks have made it to public libraries. I noticed that my top one of my top audiobooks, an audiobook on MLB stadiums, uh, was in my local libraries. And I'm like, oh wow, I did that sort of thing, and that was just putting it on in audio, and and
How'd you get
it,
it in the library?
there is okay. So formerly, Find Away Voices had this thing called in audio, um, and I think let me look back at this in audio.com. Where is no, that's not. Yeah, in audio. I should know this off the top of my head, but if you're in the system and you're publishing unabridged audiobooks, you can get it into the public library. You can also go to the librarian and just ask, "Hey, I have this audiobook here. Can I put a recommendation down as well and put it into your system to for listeners to listen to?" And 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 I'll tell you that you can listen to these as well. So as long as you have are registered in the public library, you can actually listen to this for free. It, you have a library card essentially, not registered audio. Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah.
good.
So in audio is the new um, is the newer one of Find Away Voices. So there's that. Spotify, no, it's not that. Yeah, yeah, and I'm like looking at this right now. So there's that. Yeah, for retail, for independent. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Find Away Voices. Yeah, click here if not redirected. Okay, it was voices.inaudio if you do want to register an
Mm,
audiobook for those listening, because they did update this recently.
voicesinaudio.com.
What?
That's where I'm going.
Yeah, voices.inaudio.com and then register uh, there and the sort. So there is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it might be TuneIn as well. That could also be that's also another valuable partner. So TuneIn library or
All
um
right, I'll start Googling around with some of these websites, and I'm sure with a little bit of clicking and looking, I'll be able to find it through there.
yeah Banna um yeah Frederick. Oh, I'm like looking at all this right now, and even I don't understand this fully, and I'll be Frederick Frederick County Library. Um, why don't you promote yourself um while
Yeah,
I look for this. So
yeah,
tell me
yeah.
about your books, your links, and where people can find you.
Yeah. So my book is called Dream Driven. It's the step-by-step process to discover your perfect business idea and get it launched this year. If you're curious about doing that, go to Amazon, search Dream Driven. If you're curious about my planner is going to help you clarify your goals, make them happen. It's called Goal Crazy. That's like a soccer goal, GOAL, Goal Crazy. If you go to my website, goalcrazy.com, or the planner's on Amazon, but I do want to offer a free course to people who are listening to this. If you go to goalcrazy.com/idea, you can get access to a course for free that'll help you discover your perfect business idea. And it'll be a business idea that greatly connects to a dream of yours. I want it to help you find the business idea that'll light a fire inside of you and give you the drive to go out, push through the challenges, push through the fears, and make it happen.
Okay. And also, now that I have it, Hoopla was it was
Ah,
Hoopla.
hoopla. Yeah, okay, okay.
It was Hoopla. So, with all the 48 or like 50 plus distributors that you get with uh voices.in audio, yeah, voices.inaudio.com, or
Mhm.
just that's where you can distribute your audiobooks so you can get in as long as you pass all the ACX standards as well and you check off the hoopla as well, you can get into the system. And if it is not there, you can always just contact your local library on the process of putting it in there.
Getting it.
So, and and if it's in a library, there's this pool of money. So you can get some extra revenue that way, along with a traditional purchase on Audible, Google Play, audiobooks.com, or Chirp, or any of the ones that make the
Hmm.
sales.
Okay,
So
interesting.
if you want to join me on ACX or sell an audiobook, let me know right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Anything
thank you.
else you want to promote right there?
That's it. That's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for listening. If you want to help me support this, you can check out my audiobooks. They are in the show notes below. Check out an audiobook on MLB stadiums. Check out growing baseball. Check out chess. Check out determination, and check out growing hockey. Links for all those will be in the show notes below, as along with my Substack. And Jason, your socials and the links to your books, they're on Podmatch, so I could just go get them, right?
Grab them there. Yeah, yeah.
All right, I'll let you know if I have any questions or concerns in that regard. Um, uh, with that, being said, take care, everyone. Look towards the road for peace and prosperity. And with that being said, have a wonderful day, night, evening, or afternoon. Peace out.